If you have a disability and you want to work, the path forward can feel, well, pretty complicated, right? Today, we're going to demystify a program that's designed to be your partner on that journey, Vocational Rehabilitation, or VR for short. We'll break down what it is, how it actually helps, and the steps you can take to get going.
Does that question hit home? You've got the skills, you've got the ambition, but a disability is creating some real barriers, making it tough to find a job or maybe to keep one. Well, that's exactly the kind of challenge vocational rehabilitation is built to help you tackle.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll start with what Voc Rehab even is. Then we'll walk through how you get started, how you'll map out your path to work, and what your role in all of this looks like. We'll cover what success looks like, and then we'll tackle that one big question everyone has about work and their benefits. So first things first, what in the world is vocational rehabilitation? Just think of it as a dedicated partner, one with a very specific and very important mission. Okay, so at its heart, VR is a team effort between the federal government and your state. And its whole purpose, its entire mission, is to give you the support and the services you need to hit your career goals and live more independently. And we're not just talking about getting any job. It's about finding the right career that really fits you. So, that sounds pretty good, right? But how do you actually get started on this journey? Well, the very first step is figuring out if you're eligible. Generally, it boils down to these three things. First, you have a documented physical or mental impairment. Second, that impairment creates a real obstacle when it comes to getting or keeping a job. And third, you actually need the kinds of services VR provides to make that employment goal a reality. Now, this is a really important point for a lot of people. If you're already receiving benefits like SSDI or SSI, the system already knows you have a disability that impacts work. So you're what's called presumed eligible for VR, and that can really help streamline the whole process. So what does this look like in practice? It all starts with a referral. And yep, you can absolutely refer yourself. From there, you'll work with the VR staff to get your application filled out. Once that's in, the clock starts. The agency has 60 days to make a decision on your eligibility. Now, full transparency here. Sometimes state VR agencies just have more people who need help than they have money or staff to serve. When that happens, they use a system called an order of selection. It's basically a waitlist that makes sure people with the most significant disabilities are able to get services first. Okay, so once you're found eligible and you're off any waitlist, the real planning can begin. This is where you shift from just applying to actually building your personal roadmap to a job. And the best part is, you're not doing it alone. You'll get paired up with a vocational rehabilitation counselor. I want you to think of this person as your professional guide for this whole journey. They're there to offer advice, help you figure out your strengths, and line up all the services you'll need to succeed. And hey, here's a pro tip to really help your counselor and speed things up. Try to put together a little documentation toolkit before your first meeting. This means stuff like your ID, info on recent doctors, a quick summary of your work history, proof of income, and the names of schools you went to. Having this stuff ready makes everything go so much smoother. Now, the heart of this whole planning stage is a document you're going to create with your counselor. It's called the Individualized Plan for Employment, or IPE. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It is your personal roadmap. It's not a legal contract, but it's a good faith agreement that lays out the entire journey. So what's actually in this roadmap? Well, it's all about you. It'll have your specific job goal, the exact services you'll need to get there, a timeline for hitting your milestones, who's going to provide and pay for everything, and, importantly, the part you'll play in making it all happen. And that brings us to a really key point. VR isn't something that just happens to you. It's an active partnership. Your involvement is absolutely essential for this to work. So what does your side of the partnership look like? It means being actively involved, staying in touch with your counselor. It means following through on your assignments. You'll also look for other benefits you might qualify for, like a Pell Grant for college, before VR funds are used. And while VR gives you the tools, you're the one in the driver's seat of your job search. All right, after all the planning and all the prep work, the destination is finally in sight, landing that job and being successful in it. Let's talk about what that final leg of the journey looks like. Once you get hired, your counselor doesn't just vanish. They'll stick around and check in to make sure everything's going well. The formal VR journey comes to a successful close after you've been working steadily and successfully for at least 90 days. At that point, your case is officially closed as a success story. Okay, Before we wrap this up, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. It's probably the number one question on people's minds when they even think about going back to work. This is the big one, isn't it? It's a completely valid concern. And honestly, the anxiety around it can stop people from even trying. So let's just tackle this head on. Okay, take a deep breath. The short, simple, and very reassuring answer is no. The system is actually designed with some powerful protections and safety nets to let you try out work without immediately losing the benefits you depend on. So how in the world does that work? Well, first off, while you're actively using VR services, you're generally protected from medical reviews that could stop your benefits. Second, there are special rules called work incentives that let you test the waters with work while keeping your cash and medical benefits. For example, Medicare can actually continue for more than 7 years after you start working, and Medicaid has protections too. For every single detail, the Social Security Red Book is your go-to guide.
And, don't just take my word for it. Here's a quote from Ernie, someone who's been through the program. He said, "I'm proud of every step I took on this journey and didn't give up." I think that really captures the spirit of it all. It takes effort, for sure, but that feeling of accomplishment is incredible.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that a path to work really does exist, and there are guides and resources ready to help you every step of the way. If you feel like you're ready to take that first step, the next move is simple. Just contact your local vocational rehabilitation office and start a conversation. Your journey could start today.